Many people believe that a government shutdown is when you can run around and do whatever you want, whenever you want, because no one's being paid, therefore you can't get in trouble. How many of you actually know what a government shutdown is and how it affects the people around you and how the U.S. is currently recovering from one? Personally, I had no idea of what this was or how so many people could be affected by it. Although we feel this way, it is important to understand how a government shutdown can affect you and the people around you so you know how you can react towards that. Many people do not understand or know how or why a government shutdown affects so many people, and we don't even realize it. Today, I will inform you about the 2018-2019 U.S. government shutdown and some of the outcomes and effects of it. For example, the United States shutdown took place because of a difference in opinions between Congress and Trump. Erica Warner from the Washington Post notes that it rooted from the Senate and the House going head-to-head about Trump's wall funding. Warner mentions that the state proposed a bill without funding for the wall, so the House proposed one with funding, causing the Senate to threaten with a filibuster. Warner also states that when changing in power from the Democrats in the House to the Republicans, another bill was tried without funding, and Trump clapped back, threatening to use his veto power if any more bills came through the House without wall funding. Knowing why the government shutdown took place is only the first part of it, though. Kelly Ann Smith of Bankrate says that over 800,000 employees were furloughed or went without pay during the shutdown. Smith also noted that most were underpaid for holidays and missed their first paychecks of the year. Because of the lack of funding, bills were unpaid, mortgages were unpaid, groceries were not purchased for families, and food was not put on the table. So these employees had to turn to food banks. Furloughed employees went the unethical route and decided to look towards charities and organizations to help raise the funds. However, not only federal employees are affected by a shutdown, and it's not just the government. And what I mean by this is that many people do not realize that the government is not just legislation. TSA, the FDA, and even schools and school lunches are affected. Each of these departments were affected by the shutdown, and this caused issues affiliated with people in these departments. For TSA, Donald Paletta from the Washington Post noted that because TSA wasn't being paid, airports had to close down, terminals had to spread out the workers they had, and they also had to cancel flights and delay flights so that they would have enough workers. For the FDA, Paletta also notes that they weren't paid, therefore health inspections were not being performed and disease was not being discovered. Many employees saw the dangers of this and worked unpaid to ensure the safety of the citizens of their country. For schools, Katie Riley of Time mentions that public schools in particular, who received 95% of their school lunches and meal preps from the government, were worried that they would lose funding for lunches, so they conserved food and funds. Riley also mentions that they left out variations of food to ensure that every child was fed. The government shutdown was caused by differences of opinions from the Congress and the President, and people from every part of the U.S. were affected by the shutdown in one way or another. Thank God the FDA workers still worked so that listeria and salmonella didn't kill us all. Thank you.